Good morning, hello, welcome, or afternoon if you're on the East Coast. As always, we're just going to hang out for a minute or two and give everyone a chance to log in. We're already almost up at 500 and we haven't even passed the 1 minute mark. So we're just going to give everyone a chance to get logged in before we jump in. As always, we're going to go over just a few items of housekeeping. So if this is your very first BombBomb webinar, welcome. You have at the bottom of your screen a chat window. So go ahead and pop open the chat, say hello, let us know where you're joining us from. I already see a first timer in there. George, welcome. So in the chat today, we have Alexa and Michelle. They're going to be hanging out there, which this will bring me to my second point.
Yeah.
Really, really well. If you have that chat box open and you see how quickly that scrolls up, well, it's because we have almost 1,000 people on the webinar right now. So if you have important questions that pop up throughout the course of this webinar, they are going to get lost in that chat window. So you have another window down at the bottom that's a Q&A box. That is where we want you to put your questions. Now, Michelle and Alexa will absolutely answer some of those as we go through the webinar. They will also leave some of those for Kevin and I to answer at the end of the webinar. So we are so excited to have you guys here. Those numbers are still rolling in. This actually might be one of our highest attended webinars, Kevin.
It might be. And I just saw a Q&A too. Charles said, I can't hear you. I'm hearing everything okay right now with Alicia talking. So the number one thing we always tell people if you're having trouble with sound is make sure you join the audio by the computer. That will be an option that Zoom gives you when you first jump in. There's also a little microphone option where you can choose your sound settings and stuff, but also just double check your speakers. I know that sounds really silly. It's something when I've been doing Zoom meetings a lot, people are like, oh yeah, and they turn it up. So double check that. Yeah, make sure that those are good, but you should be good to go.
Well, we are so excited to have you guys here. I know you probably didn't have anything better to do this morning than come see Kevin and I, because we're all in the same boat. We're all slowed down a little bit, and we're adjusting, and we're working from home. Kevin and I are both at home. Both Kevin and I are in the same boat that you are, trying to figure out how to work and wrangle children who aren't in school and deliver webinars even when your dogs notice other dogs walking by the front window.
Right. Yeah, we've all had that when we've been in the middle of talking with people and our kid runs in and hugs us, or our dogs start barking, or whatever it is. So we understand the struggles that are going along with this, for sure.
And that being said, bear with us today if we have any of those fun little things that jump in.
It might happen. And Alicia, I was literally just noticing this as we're doing the housekeeping and you're kind of introducing yourself. I put your wrong job title on this slide that I'm showing right now. So I apologize. I was like, I just noticed. I don't know how I didn't catch that, but
it's all good.
You're our national speaker. You're not our client enabler.
It's all right. It's just a title, Kevin.
That's
well, I'm going to go ahead and introduce us, and then we're just going to jump in as those numbers are starting to slow down. Again, thank you so much for being here with us today. We are all in a very unique situation, and we're so thankful that we have an opportunity to give you guys some assistant resources, ideas of ways that you can stay connected with your clients in a crisis. Oh, there's the dogs. I'm going to hand it to you, Kevin.
You called it. Yeah, no, we're really excited. We're excited to be with you guys. Of course, none of us are excited that this situation's happening, right? I mean, I think that goes without saying. This is a wild situation. But what is exciting about it is we're all having to get a little bit creative, right? We're all having to learn new ways to communicate. And that's what we want to make sure that we set you guys up for success with this. So Alicia, she introduced herself. She's our national speaker. I'm our client enablement manager, which is just a fancy way of saying I get to help you guys. And that's really what we're shooting for in this webinar, is just making sure that you guys have the tools that you need to make sure that you know how to communicate really well, right? My kind of underlying goal, and Alicia and I have talked about this before, is I want our clients, our customers, people who experience BombBomb to go, holy cow, I'm actually communicating better since I've been locked in my house than I was beforehand. That's my hope, is that we all start to get creative when we realize that there's a lot of different ways to do this, where we can still have that communication, we can still have that relationship with everybody. So that's exactly what we're going to kind of cover with our agenda today, is how the heck do we do this? And we're going to cover a couple of different ways of physically, technically, how do you have a setup where you can record at home? But we're also going to talk through what to send, what are the best videos, some of those sort of things. There you can see recording at home is one of the big things we're going to cover. We do want to cover, for those of you that are working in with a bigger team, right? If you've got a team of people, or heck, even the people that are realtors and lenders, how do you communicate with the people that you're working with, not necessarily a client? Well, we're going to give you some ideas and some different strategies for that. And then, of course, we're going to give you examples and show you the 5 videos that you should be sending to your clients right now, right? Some really good examples and ideas. Of course, our goal is not that you need to dive in and be doing all 5 of these every day. Pick the ones that make the most sense for you guys so that you'll be able to do this. And I have seen a couple of questions right before we dive into the kind of how do we do this section of, is this going to be recorded, sent out to us? Absolutely. Anybody that's here, you will be getting a full recording of this in the next day or two, because we know there's going to be a lot of information. We're going to cover a lot of things, so that way you can refresh on some of that information that's going out there.
And just so you know, all of our webinars end up on bombbomb.com/webinar. So one of the things that you can be doing right now at home is going back to some of those previous webinars. If you are one of the people who still has some fear and uncomfortability around doing simple video and putting yourself in front of the camera, go back and watch our webinar on it. We have tons of resources available for you. So those are there. We always put them on bombbomb.com/webinar. Michelle just threw it in the chat for you so that you can copy that and save it for later, okay? So the first thing that we want to talk about is really this how. How do you communicate in a crisis? And I think one of the questions, or one of the things that I've been putting in people's mind as we start to talk about this, if you are sitting at home right now feeling overwhelmed and frustrated, what should I be doing in my business? Right? How do I focus on my business? What energy do I put there? And the answer is always be a human. Yeah. Right now is the best thing that you could be doing in your business is just being a human being, and positioning the way that you're reaching out from that standpoint, right? Be real, be authentic. We started off the webinar talking about that, right? We're all in the exact same situation. You don't have to worry about trying to carry on business as usual. In fact, I would encourage you not to try and carry on as business as usual, because it's just not. We are all experiencing something on a global scale that none of us have really experienced. And it's okay for you to be sending out videos to your clients, maybe not necessarily in a tie. Like Kevin and I said, it's okay if you're on a call with a client and a kid walks in and asks a question, because it's real life and we're all in this together. And I just want to encourage you that solidarity goes a long way. So this is your opportunity to just be present. And is that my screen, Kevin, that just...
Nothing changed on my end.
Okay, because I am not seeing our slides anymore. Oh. And that's right.
Well, I think we're good. If you guys...
Okay, yes, sorry, we are good.
Okay.
my computer closed out of it, so we're good. Sorry, guys. But this is what we're talking about. We're just talking about being real. Things happen. Your dogs start barking, kids walk in the room. And so I just want to encourage you that empathy and connection are really, really the focus of what we're going to be talking about today. And the one note that I would want to make on this, especially as we are on April Fool's Day, I've already seen people talking about on social media how April Fool's Day is canceled. But in a lot of the sessions that I've been listening to and attending and hosting, the comedy thing has been coming up. And I would just encourage you to think about that with sensitivity. right? Your area that you're in or your specific lifestyle may not be impacted the same way that some of your clients are. And I would just encourage you to use humor carefully, right? We've already seen all of the jokes about toilet paper. It maybe isn't that funny anymore. I'm not saying you can't be funny, but my encouragement is to be sensitive and to approach your communication from that standpoint of humanity and authenticity and sensitivity.
You know what's so interesting about this whole thing? I think especially, so I'm 34, just to give you a reference. I have never experienced something like this in my life. I was talking to my parents who are in their 60s. They've never experienced something like this. And I think there's a natural fear of the unknown that's kind of going on. We don't know how long this is going to last. We don't know how severe it is going to be for each person. There's a lot of, it's scary in that aspect. But one of the things that I've been really encouraged about is in my household, I've taken the job of going to the store. That's kind of become one of my roles. Okay, I'll do that. And I had this perception of going to the grocery store, going to Costco, like all the pandemonium that you're hearing. What I've actually found has been the exact opposite of that. Is that people have been overly kind. And this is my kind of assumption on it. But like Alicia said, I think for the first time that I've ever experienced, globally, we are all in something together. We're all dealing with something. And I want you to, of course, use your judgment, know your people, know your clients. You might be able to send a funny joke to one person that you can't send to another, right? Use your judgment in that. But that kindness, that just being real with people, I have seen, even when I've been out and about, I've just been thinking, hey, thank you guys for still working. I know that's got to be a little bit weird. And I've literally, when I've said that to people, I've seen them go, oh, yeah. I mean, thank you. I appreciate you noticing that, right? We're all in this. And so I think video is just a great way to continue to let people know that and know your clients that, right? Whether it's a business thing, whether it's a friend thing, embrace that, because I think there can be some great things that potentially come out of this as well. And I hope personally that that's one of them. So.
Well, and authenticity, I'm a huge authenticity person. One of my taglines that I talk about all the time is that bravery and authenticity is always rewarded one way or another. And I think this period that we're in right now, it's bringing our humanity together, and you have an opportunity to really just show up as an authentic human being and saying, hey, I know this is new, I know this is hard, but we're here, we're still here to serve you. And you can approach your business that way. It's not that you're not running a business, it's that we're just pivoting and we're being a little bit more human in a situation where we're all dealing with something new.
Yeah, we're going to be a broken record. You're probably going to hear us say that about 55 times in this next hour. So just brace yourself for that.
I love it. We're getting great comments in the chat there. And then the third thing, and this goes along with that just being sensitive, is if you have not already looked at your automations, if you haven't already looked at your pre-scheduled social media posts, you really want to do that, because you want to make sure that there is nothing that you were planning months ago that you had set up in a social media automation or in your drip campaigns that no longer are really going to serve you and serve your clients and your potential clients correctly. So this is just to remind you that you may have some automations or drip campaigns or pre-scheduled social media stuff that you want to take a look at and see if it still is serving your community, your business, and your clients the correct way.
Yeah, and when we go through some of the ways to communicate with your clients, when we start talking about that, they may be some things that you can take into your automations and some ideas. So keep that in mind. I mean, the ideas we're going to give you are specific. They can be molded. They can be adjusted for the different things you have going on. So know that we'll give you some tips and things on how you can adjust that as we keep going.
I actually just saw a question in the chat that I want to adjust real quick. Someone asked about prompt, and we did adjust our content. The prompt send that was supposed to go out last week, we pulled it back. It was just a simple happy spring, get outside and enjoy spring. And we felt like it just wasn't sensitive. So we did pull it back and we adjusted our content. For those of you that are still on prompt, we actually pulled all of the social content for now For example, we're not posting anything about April Fool's Day today. So, but we are making it all available inside your account so that you can take a look at it and decide for you and your business if there is still any of that prompt social content that you still want to post. But yes, we have adjusted our content. We've been pivoting the April content. I actually just recorded broker training videos yesterday, and we have adjusted it to be sensitive and reflective of the time we're in.
Yeah.
That's a great question about prompt.
I'm glad you brought that up, Alicia. Yeah, we're doing our best to stay on top of that from our end. Keep that in mind with your own stuff too, right? If you've got stuff going out of your CRM or things like that, that of course we're not monitoring.
Yep.
Don't assume that somebody else is doing it, right? Make sure because it is your face and your name that's on these emails.
Yep, exactly.
So we're going to pivot real quick to a little bit, kind of, I guess, with this thing, the technical side of things. We wanted to talk about how do you set yourself up for success to record from home, right? Now, there's tons of stuff going on out there of how do you work from home? How do we keep business going from home? All those sort of things. Great. Find those webinars. Go see that sort of stuff. That's not as much what we're going to dive into. We wanted to tailor that specifically to video. So one of the number one things that we're hearing time and time again is, how do I have the right lighting? How do I make this work from home? Well, we wanted to give you a couple of tips. And really, I'll be honest with you, all of these tips we're going to give you, they're universal. I don't care if you're at home, if you're at your office, if you're anywhere. These are really good things to be aware of anytime you're recording a video. For example, first one, don't record when you're backlit, right? When there's a window behind you or a light behind you or something like this. This is actually a video I took at my front door. And you can see, you can barely see my face in that. There was I had a hallway light in front of me, but it was so bright behind me that it just washed me out completely. I'm just basically a giant shadow there. So that's something I want you to be really aware of. When you're setting up, where am I going to record from, where am I not, those sort of things. Make sure that you don't have something super bright behind you, because you're going to see this exact same result as what I got there. So how do you kind of counteract that, right? Maybe you are in an office where you've got a window from behind you. Well, there's still opportunities there. What we always recommend is just what we would call in general front face lighting. Now, one universal thing I want you guys to think of as we're talking through all these different technical aspects is, please, first and foremost, don't feel like we are telling you to go out and spend a ton of money on equipment. That's not at all what we want. In fact, Alicia and I talked about this before. Our general rule of thumb is I'm going to walk and rummage around my house and see what I have first. And you can use that. So you can see that lamp in the bottom left. That's a pretty standard desk lamp or something like that. I've even used, I don't know if I have it in my room now, like a normal lamp and just taken the lampshade off of it.
Yep.
The light bulb's a little bit brighter, right? Get creative. Use those things that you have. If you want to go out and purchase something to make it a little bit easier, that's okay too. Don't feel like you have to spend $150 on a ring light. I was literally looking stuff up on Google, on Amazon, just on standard search engine things. You can find a light like the picture that I put in there for under 35, 40 bucks. Yep. That's okay. So there are options out there. Feel free to go do them. But again, my big rule of thumb is try to not go spend a ton of money, especially right now because there's so much weird stuff going on. But if you can find something to use, do that. And just set it up in front of you. You'll find the right distance and you'll kind of play with it with your video up to make sure it's the right lighting for you. But those are good options to just make sure you've got that lighting coming from in front of you there. The second thing we want to talk about is your background, right? This is something to be aware of. So here's kind of my general rule of thumb. Avoid things that are going to be super distracting in your background, right? So obviously this is not my room, but you can imagine if that's what somebody saw in the background, there's a lot of really interesting things to look at and be distracted and not pay attention to you. That's what we want to avoid, right? I always tell people, don't go film in your laundry room, right? If you've got a bunch of laundry piled up, okay, so be aware of this. Be aware of what's going on. But I also want to make sure that you don't overthink it, right? And this is something that I think Alicia actually brought to my attention at one point. This is a great way to frame it. I put this GIF up. This is Ken Mucha, who's a real estate agent that we've worked with for ages. And this is a really fun story because you can see he has things in the background, right? I even have things in my background. I've got some pictures hanging on the wall. I've got files over there, right? So it's not perfect. But what I love about the Ken Mucha example here is that he actually sent this video to a client. The client positively responded to the pictures that were on his wall. So you can see he's got little pictures from his kids.
It
And
actually was the way he converted the clients.
oh, what? Yeah, tell the story, please.
So, sorry, Kevin, I didn't mean to jump over you there, but
No, no, go for it.
it's such a great story, especially right now while we're talking about letting yourself be human, right? And maybe showing your human underbelly a little more than you normally would if you were in your office. And Ken sent this video out to someone he had never met before. This was a website communication, someone that had wanted more information coming off of his website. And this video that he sent, they actually replied to him and told him that one of the primary reasons they chose to work with him was from that video. And what they said was when they saw the pictures that his kids had drawn him behind him on that board, it reminded them of when their kids were little and they had their kids' artwork decorating their walls and they felt connected to him. In fact, the quote was, "I felt like I would be working with a friend." So these things that are maybe personal to you, right, while you're working in your home, maybe, you know, the Jimi Hendrix painting that you have on your wall that your clients don't normally see, it's okay, because guess what? That might actually be something that a client can connect with. So like Kevin was saying, be aware of it, but don't overthink it. It's okay for your background to tell a story about you.
Yeah, I love that. It's such a good story. One thing too, I've been seeing a couple of chats come in about this. Some of the sound might be going in and out a little bit. I understand there may be some picture distortion, some of those sort of things. Totally want to address that. There's a couple of factors going on. Like we've said probably 4 or 5 times, we're working from home too, right? I'd like to think I have good internet, but it might be a little bit slower today, right? There's so many people that are jumping on. That could be one of the causes. So you can check your internet speed too if you're having any of these sound or visual issues during this webinar. Another thing that we've noticed as well is that Zoom is busier than they've ever been in their entire company history right now. So there can be a lot of different factors that are causing that. Please bear with us, be patient with it. We'll definitely keep doing the best we can. The recording will not have any of those issues. So if you're missing any little chunks, when you get that recording, you'll definitely be able to catch up on that. But thank you for chatting those in. I'm so sorry for the technical stuff. We'll keep trying to work through it the best we can, okay? So the third technical thing we want to touch on is sound, right? I've seen a couple of things coming in. How do we help with temporary soundproofing? Because my 2- and 4-year-old are screaming and my dog is barking and all of those sort of things. So first and foremost, try to set up a quiet place. Now, what does that mean? Well, if you have an extra room where you can go in and shut the door, of course, that's ideal, right? To try to separate yourself from any of the sound things. But you can also use some things that can really help. Now, are these going to get rid of the sound completely? Maybe, maybe not, depending on which one you go with. But again, I want to give you guys options that you already have before you feel like you have to go buy something. These examples that I showed you here, this bottom right one is like a lavalier clip-on mic that you can put on your shirt. That'll be really good for picking up stuff. Again, probably 35, 40 bucks if you look and kind of find one there. But I want to show you this as well. I use my AirPods all the time. If you've got even just your ones that come with your phone that have cords, that's okay. I don't want you to think that somebody's going to see those headphones and think you're unprofessional. They don't. People could not care less about headsets. I promise you. This is something we hear a lot. I was literally just talking with a software company about this. They're going, well, I don't like recording videos because I hate the way my headset looks. I totally hear you. I want to respect that nervousness. The recipient will not care. What are they going to care about? Your eyes, your smile, your personality. The only reason we've got headsets and microphones is to make sure that they can hear your message. They can hear that tone and that emotion. So again, if you've got some stuff at home, some headphones that have a microphone on it, that really does help more than you probably think in narrowing down that sound to your voice. If you want to go pick up an option, I've got a little thing that sits on my desk. I'll actually show you a picture of it in a minute here that I just leave. That helps with my sound stuff too. Do you have any kind of tips or secrets there, Alicia, that you've been doing at home?
I think it comes back to what we've been talking about this whole time is like, it's okay to be a human.
Yeah.
Is really where this comes in. And I always want to encourage you to don't let any of these things be a barrier to you doing video, right? If you're sitting there thinking, well, yeah, but I don't have, I don't have an external light. I don't have, a microphone or headphones or anything like that. It's okay. Don't create barriers to doing video, because the power of this kind of simple video always, but especially right now, is that it's human connection, right? That is what this is all about. And we're about to get in to, the 5 ways, the 5 videos that you should be sending right now. And I just want to encourage you guys to even address a lot of the stuff that I was watching in chat there, where Kevin was talking about Zoom backgrounds or about clothing, or Ken was just in a t-shirt. The reason why this works, and I don't even mean works for winning you more business, the reason why this is going to benefit both you in your business and your clients from receiving these is the human connection aspect. So all of the stuff about lighting and sound and what kind of camera you use, those are secondary to you pressing that record button and reaching out to someone in a human connected way.
Yep. I'm so glad you brought that up, Alicia. I think if you remember nothing else about this technical stuff, remember that. Don't let any of these funny pieces hold you back. In fact, if you've been following chat, there's some really great funny stuff. Somebody said, I need something to noise cancel my Frenchie who's snoring on my lap while I try to record videos. Don't
put your Frenchie in the video.
On there, say, guys, I'm sorry for the snoring. My dog is sitting here. Point the camera. People will love that stuff. I cannot tell you how much people want to see those pieces of you. I saw another one where they were saying, I actually used my son's, it was Darcy McCluskey. She said, I've been using my son's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles headset. That's amazing. If I saw a video with somebody with Ninja Turtle, I would immediately watch that. I don't care or not.
Yep.
These are the pieces that we talk about, that humanity aspect all the time. I've seen a couple people have been mentioning Brene Brown in the chat as well. If you want more content or somebody to look at who talks about these type of things, she's an amazing author. I can't recommend her enough. But she talks about how these are the pieces of humanity that bring us together. They let us know we're all in it together.
Solidarity.
The Turtles and go, I don't even know Darcy. My son loves Ninja Turtles. I've got to hear why she's wearing this headset. That is so awesome, right? So embrace that. To Alicia's point, don't let these be hurdles. Let these be things that make you, make you unique and play into that video piece. So the last thing I wanted to talk about real quickly here, just with the technical, and then we're going to jump more into the examples and stuff, is consistency. What I mean by this is I have found, as we're going off what Alicia just said with hurdles and things, it is so easy to find excuses not to do something, right? Yep. Especially with video, especially when we're working from home. And some days, let's be real, I've been in sweatpants for like 2 days straight at one point. I got up this morning, I put jeans on, I even put shoes on this morning. That was a big step.
Wow.
I was like, I'm ready to go now, and it feels great. But it's hard to go, I'm at home, I'm in my comfies, like I wanna hop on video. I totally get that. What I want you guys to think about is start to build a consistent recording process for yourself. Now, for me, this is actually the office, the desk that I'm sitting at right now. I just stepped back and took a picture of it the other day. The 2 things I want to point out to you guys that I've built for myself for consistency is, 1, I have my webcam that's always set up. So that's just ready to go. It's the webcam I'm literally looking at right this second. So that's ready to go. The other thing I mentioned before as well is I have a little microphone. These are things that I have found for myself. If I take those hurdles out and just leave them at my desk, it makes it so much easier for me to hop on and record when I need to. Now, I am really, really lucky. My wife is amazing. She's an interior designer. She said, if we're going to be home for a month, we're putting an office together. So I am blessed. I know that that's not everybody's scenario. I know I've talked to a lot of people who are like, I'm literally on boxes in the corner of my bedroom, right? Yeah, you were saying, Alicia, you're recording in your kitchen, right?
I am in the corner of my dining room with my laptop on like bins.
So you do what you got to do to make it work. Alicia's also got 3 kids. She can't leave her desk and everything set up on the kitchen table for 3 days straight. So what I want you to think of with this consistency, if you can't set it up and leave it, is build a process for yourself, right? Okay, so when I want to record, these are the 4 steps of things I set up real quick to be able to record that video right now. Just knowing that, having that in your mind, having that ready, you start to process that when you're thinking and preparing for that video. Okay, I need to plan about 5 minutes extra time to set this stuff up so that I can record the video. It's just mentally preparing yourself so that you don't have those hurdles, so you still get out there. Because really, the most important part of all of this is just do the video.
Yep.
Record the video no matter what, even if all of these pieces are not perfect. But of course, we always like to give you tips on things to help so you feel more comfortable. Right?
Yep. So I would say as we're moving from this into some of the actual more like tangible, what types of videos, what we want to leave you with, and again, because I just saw a question in chat about using the camera on your laptop. Yes, do not let any of these things be a hurdle for you. You can use your phone. We have a great mobile app. You can use the built-in camera on your laptop. You don't have to go buy any extra equipment. However, you want to make sure your lighting is front facing, and you want to make sure that they can at least hear you, because people will tolerate a video that the quality of the video is not as great as long as they can hear the sound.
Yep. That's a great place to kind of leave this at. There's a couple of questions about specific types of mics and do I use one AirPod or both? I want you to do what you're comfortable with. There really isn't a wrong option here.
Yep.
If you are more comfortable with one and you sit like this so they can't even see it, then do that. I throw both in just because that's what I'm comfortable with. So if you're getting a mic with a foam cover, yes, get it. That's a great way to kind of muffle the sound so you're not getting the hard sounds and the consonants and those sort of things. If you want to go a different direction, that's fine. So really, whatever you're comfortable with, that's what I want you to focus on with any of these. So awesome. So let's hop over here. I want to just kind of readdress what we've covered since we're about 35 minutes into this webinar. We covered the how do we do this, right? Be real, be human. We talked about some of those technical aspects of recording at home. And I even want to pause for a second here. And I'm going to launch a poll because this is more just, I'm curious because I know I've had my struggles kind of working from home. I want to hear how you guys are doing since you've been in quarantine, since you've been at your houses. So you can see I put a couple options up there. I'm an introvert. I was made for this. I'm okay, but my business is hurting a little bit. I know that's something we've been hearing from a lot of people. I don't even know what day it is. I actually saw a news article the other day where one of our news anchors went out and was asking people what day it was. And people were like, oh, it's Thursday, right? And he's like, no, it's actually Friday, right? So a lot of people have been feeling that. I have kids, enough said. Alicia and I are in that boat with you. We totally understand. And I need help. That's why I'm here. So we're getting a bunch of people chiming in here. We got about 35% of the people. So I'll let this run for a minute. But Alicia, where do you fall on this list of options?
Oh man, I feel like today I'm at the, I don't even know what day it is.
Okay.
It's definitely, you know, Kevin and I were talking about this before. My kids, I'm divorced. I have a 9th grader, a 7th grader, and a 5th grader. So it's been nutty, but they're still going back and forth between my house and their father's house, which I am incredibly lucky for. I feel like that is such a gift. And I know a lot of parents don't have that. But the other side of that is that doing this completely solo and not getting a break from them is like, whew.
Yeah, I think all of those, yeah.
Yeah, so mad respect out there to the parents that don't get a break for a couple days, because my kids went back to their dad's house on Monday and I'll pick them up today. So I got like 48 hours of breathing.
Of a little bit of alone time, a little bit of Alicia time. So good. I'm going to go ahead and end the poll and I'm just going to share these results for you guys. You can see the reason I love these polls is because you can see it's across the board, right? The top one was I'm okay, but my business is hurting. Man, I empathize with you. I totally hear you. I mean, the stories that we're hearing of people who are doing millions of dollars a year in their business and are literally at a standstill right now, they're endless, unfortunately. We're all trying to figure this out. So I'm glad you're here. I'm glad we're going to be able to give you some ideas. I can tell you the one I do not connect with is that I'm an introvert and I was made for this. My wife and I were consistently 3, 4, 5 nights a week visiting with people. So that's been really hard for us to not have that option. But thank you guys for just kind of giving that. It's just a fun way to see some of the comparisons there. But
well, and I will say, as we're moving, we're gonna real quickly touch on some internal communication, and then we really want to get into these 5 videos that you should be sending. But I just want to encourage you guys. For those of you that you're doing okay, but your business is hurting, we are with you. We understand. It's why we're here. And I saw it in chat. I've heard it anecdotally from other customers, but someone in chat said that they've been sending one-to-one videos out to all of their clients, and it's actually helping their business thrive right now. And we're going to get into some of that. I heard another story of an agent who sent out 45 one-to-one videos to his clients saying, you know, what we're going to talk about. How are you? What do you need? Are you hanging in there? And he got 18 phone calls back from those 45 videos. So I know it's frustrating, especially, you know, if you run your own business, if you're a real estate agent, if you're running your own insurance business, if you're a consultant or a coach. I know that this is frustrating, but connection right now, the work that you do on connecting with your clients, it's going to help you. And that's why we're here. So we're going to jump into some things you can do internally. And then we're going to just whiz through these and then get into the 5 videos that you should be sending for your business.
Yeah, and one thing I want you guys to think of too, we've titled these Communicate Internally because we have a lot of people who are working with teams or with larger companies, and we're figuring, literally, we're all working remotely, we're figuring it out. I want you to think of this as well, though. It doesn't just have to be internal. For our small business owners out there, think about the colleagues that you work with, right? If you're a realtor, think about your lender, think about your title rep, think about these people that may not be internal in your company, but really are part of your team. They're part of your success. Think about some of this fun stuff just as a way to keep in touch with them. One of the really fun things, and I've listed out a couple things that we've been doing at BombBomb internally that have been just a blast. You can see we literally brought back, MTV Cribs, right? So like, who has actually thought about MTV Cribs in the last 15 years? I hadn't, but it's been really, really fun to get an idea of what does your office look like at home, right? Just get a feel for where are people working, what are they doing? Digital happy hours is something we're seeing across so many different things. We talk about using different products, right? This is not all BombBomb all the time. Zoom is a great product if you're needing to do live, like actual real life, in the time communication, virtual meeting rooms, webinars like this, right? We're using Zoom for this. Do that. We've had people, all of a sudden I'll get an invite at 4:45 and say, hey, do you want to hang out and have a drink or something like that? It's amazing. There's 15 of us that hop in a room and just talk and just catch up. Great way to keep that rapport and that kind of in-office feel going. Weirdest thing in your house. That's a funny one that Alicia said she saw that I think is just such a great idea. What's the weirdest thing I can find walking around, you know? Or something that we did that kind of started on a whim is just like our spouses have been hearing us doing videos so much that they were like, oh, I could do an impression of you. And we've started having our spouses and our loved ones do videos of us. One of our coworkers had their dog like put glasses on and sit by their computer and stare at it. I mean, it's totally silly stuff, but I've been really shocked at how it's changed my attitude towards this. It's helped me feel included and part of something bigger than just sitting at my house by myself. And that's what I want you to think of on this. I'll even play this video example for you, not to call her out, but Michelle, who's on here kind of monitoring all of this, this is the video that she sent for the kind of MTV Cribs thing that we did. And I don't know anybody at BombBomb that watched this that didn't have a smile come to their face, just because that's exactly what it did. It just kind of brightened it. So watch this as a fun example of that, of just one of the ways that you can communicate internally.
So great.
I mean, it's just fun, right? It's just, she obviously has a great view with this amazing painting. I don't know if she went out and did that herself, but but it's just a great way to just say, hey, we're all in this together. It was super fun. She brought to put the song on and those sort of things. So yeah, what other thoughts do you have kind of about some of this kind of communication, Alicia?
I think the goal is really just to think creatively of ways to maintain connection, right? Yeah, I'm sure that you're doing Zoom meetings. I'm sure that you're still, having some of those daily check-ins. But think about, again, that humanity side, right? Like, yes, I would say most of us that are on here are probably, we're still working, we're working our business, we're not laying in our pajamas all day, thinking that the world is ending. However, we are having ups and down days, right? I had a rough day yesterday. And these kinds of little things to keep your team together in a really human way, little fun things, are going to help the morale, right? It's just a way to kind of connect everyone in a way that maybe you don't get to connect in the grind of day-to-day work. But hey, we're at your house. You might as well show me your house and have some fun with MTV Cribs.
Well, and I love this, and this kind of takes us to our next one as well, of just from a leadership standpoint, I've seen this be really, really powerful for us over the last couple of weeks. This is actually Darren Dawson, who's the president of BombBomb, and I did get his permission to show this video. But I've probably gotten more videos from Darren in the last 2-3 weeks than I have in the last year. He has really embraced this. Hey, we're not all together, but I'm still here, right? I'm still here to kind of talk you guys through everything. So we've done all sorts of various things, like, again, using Zoom and doing fireside chats, doing meetings, those sort of things. But then Darren has hopped onto BombBomb to do weekly, daily updates on different things that we're going through. And it's been awesome for me and Alicia as well, and our whole team, to just go, okay, so we're still moving forward. We're still progressing in these ways, and just keeping that information consistent rather than a million different emails going between a million different people with different information. It's kind of like the game of telephone, right? Like, I heard this person say this and they told me, and then all of a sudden the information's skewed by the time it gets to me. No, now we have one source. We have the source, right? Giving us these videos, sending out this information. So I'll just play a little snippet of one of his videos so you can get an idea. But I want you to think about that. If you have a team, if you have colleagues, if you have people that you're working with that you're reliant on, this is a great way to build some consistency for you guys on having that correct information as you work through this.
Hey guys, this is your Friday update on a Thursday. A lot of important things to get to you, so I want to get it to you as quickly as possible. So it's coming a little early this week. First of all, thank you so much for working from home. You guys have been doing awesome. Really unbelievable how you've been able to transition. It's been great. I know it's not easy. If you saw what I posted in the water cooler today about working from home with kids, I found that article to be very helpful.
I mean, we're going to talk about some of these specific ideas, but again, to just reiterate what Alicia even said earlier, thank you, empathy, kindness, understanding. He's just being him. That's literally all he's doing. And I love that that's the tone that he started on, is I know that this is hard. I'm feeling some of these things too. And we're here, right? We're all doing this together. So cool. So Alicia, I'm going to go ahead and let you kind of start out here. We want to jump in. We're 46 minutes in. We know this one's going a little bit longer than typical, but we wanted to give you all of this information. So we're going to jump in now to the 5 things that we want you guys to send to your clients, the top ideas that we've seen be really effective with the people that we've been speaking with.
Yep. The first one is definitely thank you. I'm a big gratitude junkie. Actually, I don't know if that's a real terminology, but I don't know what other way to explain it. I think thank you is one of the best things that you can be doing right now. And our second idea is more on the checking in, but you have the time in your business right now to just say thank you. And there is a ton of research on what gratitude actually can do for both your body, your brain. Gratitude helps you sleep better. Gratitude helps you manage stress better. Gratitude helps lower your blood pressure. There's a lot of scientific research put into what practicing gratitude actually does for you. And then the other side of it is that gratitude actually increases your social capital, which is basically a nice way of saying that it helps people do what you want them to do. But the point of this is not to check a box and say, oh, I said thank you to my clients. Now the next time I ask for them for something, they're going to remember this. Oh, it's almost as if you read my mind, Kevin. People are going to remember how you made them feel during this crisis more than anything else. Kindness, gratitude, appreciation, empathy, solidarity. Truly, 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 these are going to be the things that people remember long after this is over. They're not necessarily going to remember, the information that you put up about the stock market or interest rates or anything like that. What they are going to remember is who you were as a person and what do you want to be remembered for. And gratitude is such an easy thing to do. This isn't scary. This isn't like going on Facebook Live. This is literally you just sitting down at your computer or on your phone and pressing the record button and saying, hey, I know we're all in a tough spot. I just want you to know that I'm really, really grateful for you and the opportunity that I've had to work with you over the years. That's it. It's as easy as that. So showing empathy and kindness and really just showing up as a human being right now to say, hey, thank you for investing in my business. Is there anything that you need from me? Is going to go a long way.
And I can absolutely guarantee you 100%, no one will ever be upset if you thank them. Yeah. It is a surefire, zero risk video. If you are saying thank you, it means a lot. And if you want more about this, we actually did, I was just thinking about this as you were talking, so we did an entire client webinar just on thank you and gratitude a couple months ago. If you go to bombom.com/webinars, you can scroll down and find that. So if you want to dive specific into that, we did a whole 45 minutes just on that topic and the type of thank you videos to send. So know that that resource is. And that kind of leads into number 2 as well. It's checking in. Here's why I absolutely love this idea. For those of you who have been with BombBomb for a while or have followed us or been on our webinars, you hear us talk about thank you videos. That's not a new one. We just feel like it's even more important now than it ever has been. You've probably also heard us talk about the checking in video and said, don't send these. Do not send checking in videos. They are not valuable. There's not information. Well, guess what? We're being flexible in this time as well. We're learning what's helpful. So here's what I want you to think of with these checking in videos is they really need to be one-to-one. You don't want to send a checking into your whole database. I've seen a couple of questions in the Q&A as well as a couple of chats coming in about, is it better to be personal than do a one-to-many? I would always say if you can be personal, be personal. There are going to definitely be situations where you do a one-to-many. That's why it's an option. There can be huge value to those as well. So I'm not going to say one's always better than the other. In this situation, yes, do one-to-one because people need to understand it needs to be personal to each person. And the couple of things I want you to think of when you're doing these checking in videos is, how are you? What do you need? And how can I help? And here's kind of the key to it, right? The keys to these is that you really do need to care what they need and you need to follow through if you do establish something that you can do to help them, right? This is not going to help you if they say, oh yes, man, we have no toilet paper, right? I'm just using that as a funny example because this is crazy with toilet paper right now. If you've got a couple extra rolls of toilet paper and you can drop them off on their front porch, right? You're keeping your distance. We're abiding by the rules. I actually saw a picture somebody had sent me of a realtor was giving home gifts. That was like a fun little letter that she was putting together with a roll of toilet paper for her clients. Oh my gosh, that's like gold right now. So those are great ways to follow through and make sure that you're showing, hey, I heard you, I'm listening to you, I'm here for you through this time.
Well, and your business is slower than it is right now. Most likely, no matter what industry you are in, this might be the first opportunity that you've really ever had in months and months to actually offer that kind of human care to your clients.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And now there's a great question as well about these checking ins that Jonathan just put in the Q&A. Are you putting these on social media or how are you delivering them, right? How are you getting them to your clients? Here's kind of my 2 cents on that. I would say it's not bad to use social media, but do it in a private message if you are. There is a lot of noise on social media right now, and it is really hard to determine what do I need to spend my time reading, what do I need to ignore, what's real, what's factual. It's hard. It's hard for us to do that. We don't want to put something else on there that our clients have to determine the value of. So personally, if I had the option, I would be emailing them or potentially even texting them. Do it in a different way to avoid that noise altogether. If you are going to do it on social media, do it in a private one-to-one message. Don't just post it on their page and hope they see that. So that would be kind of my 2 cents. But I think that's a really great question because I've seen some stuff about Facebook, about LinkedIn, about some of those sort of things. If we're doing these human pieces, do those in private messages where then they can open up as well. They're not going to be nervous about that being on a feed for people that they don't want to see that information.
Yeah. Well, and last thing that I would want to say on this, and Kevin already touched on it with these really should be one-to-one and not mass sending. Don't do this to check a box. Okay? If you do not actually, I don't know how to say this. If you don't actually care about that human connection with your clients, don't do it. Right? There is probably something else you could be doing in your business, but do not send out a checking in, what do you guys need, as something to check a box. Because again, it comes back to that empathy and solidarity piece, right? Like, this is not a way for you to get more business right now in this moment. Sending a check-in, are you okay? Kevin and I are not telling you to do this so that you can wrangle some clients. We're telling you to do this because this is an opportunity to invest in your business as a human being. You know, video is never just about checking a box. The goal of video is to create connections, because when we connect with people, our business naturally grows as a result of doing a good job of taking care of people. So you have to be doing this for the right reason and not just to check a box, because it's going to help you win business.
Yep. You're investing in your business by investing in your people, right?
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Andy Alger just said in the chat, this is a time for mind share, not market share. I love it, which is a perfect segue into our third idea of the videos that you should be sending to your clients. And you should be providing value, okay? If you are a business owner, it does not matter what industry you are in. If you are an entrepreneur, now is not the time to bury your head in the sand and disappear just because you can't talk about the same things you would talk about normally, right? When we say it's not time for business as usual, that's not saying shut down and don't be visible. Right now, you have a tremendous opportunity in your business to lead and provide value. And so the first piece of this is think outside of your business, right? If you are a real estate agent, getting on Facebook Live to talk about the housing market is probably not appropriate right now. It might be, depending on where you're at and what your clients are asking for. But more than likely, your opportunity right now is to provide value in another way. Be a leader in your community. And you can do this through BombBomb. You can also do this on social media. So some of the things that we've been seeing that are so great, and again, think outside of your business, but focus on how you can lead and provide value. So porch pics. I've seen photographers doing this. I've also seen real estate agents doing this with their photographer that they pay. Send a video out to your clients and say, hey, I know we're all getting a little stir crazy, you know, wanted to see if anyone was up for having porch family photos. And everyone gets their family ready out on the porch. Some people are doing it to commemorate the global pandemic and doing it with like silly stuff like stacks of toilet paper or whatever. Other people are just doing cute family photos. And the photographer comes by and stays in the yard a safe distance away and does a quick photo shoot session. Recipes. I saw Lee Brown doing this on Instagram. Kevin's wife, Lydia, has been doing this on Instagram. Lydia, he already said she runs an interior decorating business. Recipes are not normally something that she's doing to promote her business, but she's having a great time and walking people through cooking simple recipes. Doing a Facebook Live story time for your clients that have small kids. There are lots and lots of ways that you can be providing value right now and showing up as a leader in your community that is going to keep you in front of people, and it's going to keep you visible, but also in a way that is providing value to people in this time and keeping you in front of people as someone that cares.
Well, and even just to tag on to that, I'm going to play this video example for you. And I have to say, I mean, this is my absolutely gorgeous wife. So I'm really lucky to be playing this video. Her name's Lydia. And like Alicia said, she does staging and interior design. So she's a small business. She's feeling so many of the same things you guys are. What I have seen that's really great is not only is this valuable and fun for the clients, she has had a blast doing these. this has been a really good reprieve for her. She's like, I love cooking. I enjoy this. This is something where I can not only give good recipes, but I can do this in a way where it's actually fun for me to do at the same time. So I'll play this just little snippet so you can get like kind of an idea. You'll see her humor that she throws into this. This is just her. It's awesome.
Hey, I'm cooking and cutting onions, but I wanted to tell you, the best part of chili is the toppings. I mean, the chili has to be good, yes, but the toppings of the chili have to be excellent. So I always top my chili with pickled red onions. Pickled red onions, you say? Yes, it's what I just said. So put them all in a jar like this.
So it's just fun, right? I mean, she's just being herself. She's putting her personality out there. The reason I wanted to show you guys this example is because I actually have real numbers for this. She, off of this video, this recipe, got over 20 responses from people in her network on her social media saying, thank you, I love these. I'm going to make this tomorrow. I needed this escape. These are keeping us alive during our quarantine. Please do more.
And it's fiction.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's been a great way for her to have fun. It's been valuable for her clients, and it's been a great way for her to build that relationship and continue to communicate, which I think is absolutely awesome. And this next one's kind of an extension of that too. We've talked about this in our holiday sending webinar that we did a little while ago about being kind of the digital mayor of your community. Well, I think this is a great time to bring that up again and talk through how can we change that. Well, you can actually be the digital mayor while we're in this time of crisis. And here's why I think it's more powerful now maybe than ever. Similar to what I talked about with the social media stuff, how there's a lot of noise, it's really hard to determine what's real information, what's not, what do I listen to, is this a reputable source or something like that. Well, think about what if you were able to spend 15 minutes, 30 minutes a day and research some of that, do a little bit of that homework for your clients and say, I've been able to pull this information, here's where we're at in our city, in our state, right? So in Colorado, which is where we're located here at BombBomb, we literally have a stay-at-home order. It is against the law for us to leave our houses for things other than like essential things like shopping or work for certain people or those sort of things. What does that mean, right? For me, I would automatically think certain things. And I've realized, okay, there are certain things that are considered essential that I would not have considered, right? So be the valuable information. Here's kind of the key for it is make sure that it's valuable and really double check and make sure that it's factual. The last thing you want to do is send out stuff that is not true. And then you start to have those kind of conversations. But once your clients are more confident, they feel like they have more information, they're going to feel more comfortable. That's going to provide a sense of safety for them during this crazy time as well.
And if you don't feel comfortable providing that kind of community information in regards to legal things, you could also use this as an opportunity to let your clients know about things that are going on, like online. If you know of online dance classes or drawing classes or things like that, you can still be a resource on a broad level and provide that sort of updates about what small businesses are open in town or which restaurants have shifted and are doing delivery. You can still do this in a way and provide value and be that resource, right? That place who knows what's going on in the community without kind of breaking into some of those more serious things if you would. But you could also let people know where to provide that information, right? Mm-hmm. Where they can go find that information for themselves. You can be that resource.
I love that. I mean, a big thing that's been going on in Colorado Springs is all about supporting local, right? Trying to help our local restaurants and coffee shops and places like that can't be open like they normally are. That's great. Be a resource of, hey, here's my top 5 places that I'm supporting. That's an amazing resource. So I love expanding that beyond just laws and regulations and rules. There's so many things that you can provide information on right now. So yeah, and the last one, so number 5 here that we wanted to talk about is actually business, right? Yeah. We've been saying kind of the opposite this whole time, but you do still have business going, right? Yeah. There are still things that are moving forward. So Alicia, I know this was one that you're really passionate about, so I'll kind of let you jump on this.
Yeah, I know that a lot of you are still working, especially real estate. I know a large percentage of our clients are real estate, and in a lot of states, they've still been labeled as essential business. In some states, they have not. So I just want to encourage you that Video right now, video has always been a powerful way to communicate with your clients through the process. But right now, this is so much more important for a few things. Number one, you want to over communicate, okay? There is a lot of fear and uncertainty, and things are changing, and what can I do and what can I not do? And, if you're a real estate agent and you are working with buyers and they really need a home, you are probably having to think creatively of ways that you can show them this home. Or, if your business model is normally dependent on having face-to-face meetings, you're shifting and pivoting. So I want to encourage you to use video in this moment to over communicate. Let them know ahead of time what to expect, what's changing. A few things about video. Number one, we retain information more effectively when we watch a video as opposed to reading it in an email. So when you send a video to a client to communicate what to expect, hey, if we still need to get you in a house, we can do this. I'm still working. This is what you're going to expect and how this would look different. They're going to retain 90% of that as opposed to only 10% reading in an email. The other thing that I want to encourage you with of why you should be communicating with your clients right now over video is that when we watch a video of a human face, it stimulates serotonin production in our brain the same way as if you were standing face to face with them, okay? So this is an opportunity for you to maintain some of that connection. We talk about this at Bomb Bomb all the time. Video lets you be there in person when you can't be there in person. Well, right now, very few of us can be there in person at all. So video is going to give you an opportunity to keep your business moving and to communicate at a really, really high level. Even if it's something as simple as, I wanted to check in and see how you were feeling about, that stuff I sent you yesterday. Great. Send the video for that, because they're probably not seeing any other human faces other than the people inside their house. And they are going to enjoy seeing your face and being communicated with that way. So you have an opportunity to communicate at a really high level in a really human way, to educate your clients, let them know what to expect, provide updates on the business, and put everyone at ease in a way that is going to help them retain that information, as well as have some positive brain chemicals out of the interaction with you.
And one other thing I love about this too is just in video in general is when you're actually delivering the information to them, they're associating that knowledge with you. Mm-hmm. That's way harder to do when it's just a text email, right? Yep. When they actually see you, you're the one conveying that and telling them all that information, then when we get back to normal life, because we will get back to life at some point, we are going to get through this. We don't know when, we don't know how quickly, there's a lot of questions still in the air, but when we do, they're going to remember Alicia was the one that kept me in the know, right? She was the one, I appreciate that. I remember that, right? So that's how all of these personal things are going to help invest in your business long-term. One other thing that I do want to tell you with just a lot of these videos that we're saying is, what are our expectations on these? Just like we talked about how business is not business as usual, I don't want you to necessarily expect the exact same responses that you're used to getting. I've been talking with my wife about this a lot of, we're sending videos now to plant seeds. That doesn't mean that every video you send out is going to turn into business right now, right? We're kind of playing the long game during this quarantine, but I do promise that the more you invest, the more you send, it will pay off. It will pay off at some point. So just keep that in mind as you're continuing to do this stuff. So let's reiterate real quick here. And while I'm doing this, Alicia, I have to note on something they were just chatting about how your voice sounds like Elaine from Seinfeld. Did you see those chats going in? Oh, you're muted.
I did see that. And I've actually heard that before.
Really? I was cracking up as they were chatting that in. I was like, I've never noticed it. Just the chat.
We're going to recap some of these videos and we're going to get into your questions. I know we're over the top of the hour here, so I'm going to let Kevin start to recap, and I'm going to start going in and looking at some of these questions. So if you have been holding on to your questions, throw them in the Q&A box. If you have to run because we've run long, thank you so much. But if you are waiting for questions, we're going to get into those.
Yeah, so just to reiterate here, the 5 videos that we talked about, because we know we gave a lot of information per idea. Number 1 is the thank you video. Show the gratitude. People are going to love that. Checking in, right? The key with checking in is really care, really follow through on what you're talking to and what they're needing from you. Number 3, providing value. And the way we're talking about it in this sense is think outside of your business. Have some fun. Bring some fun back into this. There's plenty of things to be nervous about and scared about on the news right now. If we can be a source of happiness and smiles and fun, as well as provide some value for people, that's amazing. That will go a long way. The digital mayor, right? Be a source of information, whether it's restaurants, whether it's helping local, whether it's actual rules. And I know our governor put out a press release. If you can find that and send that, whatever that means for you, be a great source of real factual information for your clients. And then last but not least, use the video for business, right? Over communicate, keep in touch with people that do have things going on or leads that are coming in, because there is still business that's happening, right? So make sure that you're staying on top of that and over communicating. And one kind of last piece that I want to leave you guys with here, before we jump into some of the Q&A stuff as well, is I found this quote as I was doing some research for this webinar, and it's Leonard Mlodinow, who he's actually a theoretical physicist, but he's also an author, and he's written books with all sorts of different people like Deepak Chopra, Stephen Hawking, a whole lot of people that are a heck of a lot smarter than I am. But what I loved about this is he starts to research different things about like human connection, human interactions. He talks about like the unconscious mind. He talks about how randomness kind of runs our lives. So things that we experience, he brings some reason and some science to that. But this quote I thought was so pertinent right now, where he's saying social connection is such a basic feature of human experience that when we're deprived of it, we suffer. We're all suffering right now. We are. I mean, I've got my wife and my son who I get to interact with every day. Thankfully, I have them at home. I know a lot of people that live by themselves, right? We are deprived of this social connection right now. Is video going to solve that 100% and make it just like everything is normal? No. But you know what? It takes us a huge step closer to that connection. It brings us back into the equation versus just text, versus just emails. It allows us to still feel like we're connected, even though we're all separated. And I want you guys to remember that at the core of all of this. That connection is going to pay dividends, not only for your business and for your clients, but for you. It's going to go a long way to help us all get through this and not feel like we just suffered through something for a couple of weeks, but we actually have grown and gotten better through this as we work through it as well. So yeah, last kind of couple things here as she's reviewing the closing thoughts. I just want you to remember that video is more powerful now than ever. We think video is amazing all the time. All these things we've been talking about are good universally, but now there's kind of a magnifying glass on the way that we communicate. So my challenge to you guys is I want you to go out there. I want you to connect with people. It's good for business. It's good for you. It's literally good for everyone. The more connected we are, just like that Leonard Mlodinow quote I just showed you, it's going to help. It's going to help this kind of ease through and do all that. So the last thing, literally the last thing I'm going to touch on, and then we're going to answer your Q&A, is we here at Bomb are seeing a need for more of this information and more of these conversations. So we're going to start doing these quick hit webinars on Facebook. What does that mean? We're talking literally 15 to 20 minutes on one topic. So we're going to narrow it down, get really specific on things that we're hearing, ways that we can help you guys communicate as effectively as possible through this time. So I want you guys to think about this every Tuesday and Thursday. We're going to be hopping on and we're going to have a webinar that you guys can watch and experience. And we're going to do that for you guys. You can literally go to our Facebook page and you'll see it as a post and you can say, remind me when this is happening. So you can choose that and select that and we'll notify you when that launches so that you guys will be able to do that. We'll be doing it middle of the day around noon, probably mountain time as well. So you can kind of keep that in mind, but keep your eyes open for that. That's kind of our challenge is get out there, start doing some of these things, pick one or two that you like And also keep your eyes open for that, because myself, Alicia, Steve, Ethan, Darren, our president, may be hopping on and doing these. We're going to bring a lot of different perspectives in to make sure we're giving you guys some great info there. So, all right, Alicia, take it over. What questions have you been seeing there as we've been
let me answer some of these questions here. So John wanted to know, so many people are using video platforms like never before, BombBomb, Zoom, WebEx. It's becoming video overload. How do we get that initial engagement, getting people to click play when there are so many videos showing up in people's inboxes and social media feeds? That is a great question, John. And I'm going to address this from two different standpoints, okay? The first is in your simple one-to-one videos, the how are you? Do you need anything? Thank you for being a client. You guys hanging in. Your clients are going to open those. Number one, I doubt that they are getting a lot of personal videos in their inbox. They might be being invited to Zoom happy hours like never before. They might be seeing lots of Facebook Live like never before. Yeah. But in all likelihood, they're not getting a lot of personal one-to-one videos in their inbox. And I am telling you, a client receiving a video from you saying, hey, how are you? Do you need anything? Is the family okay? They're going to open up the video. We've done lots of training in the past about how to make sure your videos get open. In fact, I think if you go to bombbomb.com/webinar, you'll find some webinars that talk about this specifically. But you want to make sure that your subject line is indicative of what that is in that email. If your subject line says, video for Tom and Susan, is there anything you guys need? And they see that coming from someone that they have a relationship with, they're going to open up and play that video, okay? The second piece that I would want to address is the video overload on social media. Yeah, that certainly is a thing right now. Just make sure you're providing value. If the focus of what you are posting is to provide value and not just to be seen, then people are going to come for the value. So I would say your one-to-ones, yes. Absolutely. You want to, keep doing that, the check-in, how are you? People are going to open those up. Social media, make sure that you are providing value.
Can I hop on that real quick, Alicia?
Yeah,
just because you was asking about video overload. The first Facebook quick hit that we're doing tomorrow, I'm actually hosting that, is all about Zoom and BombBomb and how to know when to use which, why they're beneficial, what are some specific instances. So if you're trying to be a little bit more strategic with that Facebook quick hit that we're doing tomorrow will be really, really helpful to help narrow that down. So any of you that are curious about why am I using one platform or another, or what are all these things, we're narrowing down a couple of those things tomorrow. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah. I saw a question in chat there about, how do they know it's a personal video until they open it? How do you appeal to people to open your stuff that don't know you? And this would be my encouragement right now. You should not be reaching out to people that you don't know at this moment, trying to drum up business. Now, if someone filled out a lead form and were requesting specific information from you, and then you reach back out to them, they're probably going to press play on that video because they requested information. But I don't think right now you should be sending out mass videos to people that you don't have a relationship with anyway. Again, I just don't think that it is sensitive to the time that we're all in.
Sure. One question I saw on here as well from Todd about kind of asking about green screens and some of those sort of things. I'll tell you our universal rule at BombBomb, this has not changed for me. My opinion, even though I'm working from home, is we're a big caveat of the less produced a video is, the more authentic that it feels. People respond to that. People like authenticity. Now, we use Zoom all the time, and you can do virtual backgrounds and some fun stuff with them. Honestly, I've used that more in a playful, fun sense than I have trying to cover anything back up, right? So I would say the hard thing about green screens is when somebody sees a preview of a video and sees like a superimposed background, they automatically start to feel commercial. It starts to feel less personal. It feels less authentic, and people are in reality less likely to click on it and play it. So if you're concerned, one of the things that Todd said in this is we could lose business from our background. this is going to sound kind of mean and I don't stand in a different place. I would not use a green screen. I would find a place where you are comfortable with the background, that it's not going to jeopardize any of that sort of stuff. So,
yep. Couple questions here about best practices from video versus phone call and texting videos. I would 100% encourage you to be calling your past clients, your sphere of influence right now, no matter what industry you are in. Now is a great time to pick up the phone and call. Now, if you're not getting very many people on the phone because they're working from home and wrangling homeschooling children that normally are in school, great, send a video. The nice thing about doing video is that it's asynchronous, right? You can set aside time for yourself and record 20 quick check-in videos and send them out to clients. And then the people that engage and want to engage with you, you can call them back and maybe have a more personal phone call. If someone replied to that email and said, you know, hey, Alicia, thanks for reaching out. I actually have been struggling. Great, pick up the phone and call them. So I'm not saying don't send phone call, don't make phone calls, or don't do videos, do one or the other. Figure out what makes the most sense for your business. Do both. Make some phone calls and send some videos. See how people reply to them, okay? So do whatever makes sense for you. But the nice thing about video is that you can record it when it makes sense for you, and they can watch it when it makes sense for them, okay? The other thing about texting videos, absolutely. Text videos if you want. The mobile app lets you do that. You are going to get better engagement over text than email. That is straight across the board for pretty much anyone. It's like we've been trained that you get a text message, you open it right away. Emails, there's so much in the inbox that a lot of times we kind of figure which is most important, what I'm going to open first, what I'm going to come back to later. So there's nothing wrong with that. You can text them if you want. You can email them if you want. The goal of what we wanted to get in front of you guys today is give you some ideas and remind you of the opportunity that you have to be more human. And we're at 15 minutes over the top of the hour here, so we're going to wrap it up. But this kind of answers some of those questions that are still sitting in the Q&A box there about scripts or samples of videos. Right now in your business, what you should be doing is showing up as yourself, as a human being, to lead and to serve your customers. And you don't need scripts to send a video to a client saying, hey, I'm here, what do you need? You don't need a script to reach out to a client and say, hey, I'm thinking about you. Thank you for supporting my business, right? So I just want to encourage you that right now, what you should be focusing on is showing up as a human being with empathy, with solidarity, and being a leader and serving. That is going to do far more for your business than giving you the right script of what you should say would ever do.
Well, and even just on that too, we've had a couple questions about prospecting, how that's a huge aspect of my job. How do I reach out? How do I change it? I think honestly what Alicia said is spot on for that as well. Don't lead with the sale. Lead with, hey, how are you guys doing in this tough time? What do you need help with? I've got this product that might be able to help that, but I'd love to hear more about you. Lead with them first, helping first, serving first. That gives you the opportunity and really gives you the right to then start talking more product if you're in that kind of scenario. So I think that general rule is spot on. And I've seen a couple of chats too, just a little bit on that same, about how long should these videos be? What time frame should I stay to? Really, I that has not changed for me since we've done this quarantine pandemic stuff. General rule of thumb for me is 60 seconds. I try to keep my little label across my little banner to say seconds instead of minutes. So if you keep it under a minute, it will say that. Another kind of rule that I've worked with a lot of people as well is the longer I've known somebody, the longer I'll allow the video to be. So if I have a client that I've built a relationship with for years, I can have a minute or a 2-minute video or whatever that needs to be. That's not as big of a deal. If it's a brand new client, I've never talked to him before, 30 seconds, right? I'm going to keep that really short and sweet and to the point. So those are 2 rules of thumbs that I kind of go by with mine, but I haven't seen a huge change in that since all of this has changed. I still live by that.
Yep.
Well, man, Alicia, we still have a lot of questions rolling in. Trust me, we want to get to all of your questions, but we also want to be conscious of everybody's time here. So you will all be getting a recording of this entire webinar.
Yep.
Go back and highlight and fast forward and find the parts that you want to rewatch. But I think more than anything, to reiterate some of the things we've been talking about here, is just be you, be real, be human in this time period. With all of the examples we showed you guys, be real. That is the number one thing that we can't say enough. I know we've probably said it 45 times, but it's so important this time. Build that trust, relate to people. It's going to go a long way. So thank you guys so much for your time. Our first quick hit on Facebook is tomorrow. So tomorrow at noon Mountain Standard Time, you can go on and sign up to be reminded for that. And then we're doing it every Tuesday and Thursday at noon Mountain Standard Time. So hop on there. There's going to be some really, really valuable information. But thank you guys for your time.
If you guys have technical questions, if you have technical help, our support site is an incredible resource. You can go to support.bombbomb.com. You can search topically. So if you have questions about our screen recorder or the mobile app or anything like that, you can go search topically. There also is chat on the support site. And I've had people say like it's just a chat bot. Actually, the initial pop-up is a chat bot, but once you start asking questions, you are talking to someone at BombBomb. So reach out if you have technical questions. We want to support you. We are so, so thankful for you guys. We are all in this together. That High School Musical song is going to be in my head all day. But we know that video right now is a powerful, powerful way to keep you connected to not only the people in your business, but the people in your community, your friends and your family. So get out there, record some video, let us know how we can help and support you guys.
Yep, and stay safe. Please stay safe. We want everybody to be healthy. Listen to whatever your people are telling you to do. They're all smarter than I am, so I'm not here to tell you, but just stay healthy. We appreciate all of you guys as customers. So thanks again.
We'll see you guys on the next one.
Bye, everybody. Have a great day.